We're going to take a tour of the dashboard. So let's take a look at our home screen here where I am on the favorite projects area and I have a few projects already started. And what we are going to do is just click into the one that I created called New Project. It's a blank new project. So it just takes us into our dashboard. That's what we call this main screen for a project. So let's look at all the pieces that are on the dashboard. First of all, you've got your header with the name of the project, with the type of project. The default we've got is business scenario type. There are other types that you can create. That's not something we're going to cover here, but it will indicate here what your project type is, the version of frameworks that you're on, the level of sharing, the number of comments, and then the number of suggested modules. And I'll talk more about suggested modules in a minute. You also have on this page your properties, which gives you the details about this particular project, who it's shared with, the level of sharing, how you do your exports, and details about the project. Interesting things on this is that you can change the name here. If I decide this is new project 2, I can do that here. If I decide I want a description here, other than the ABC I had typed in previously, you would type that here. And now you've got more details around the project from this properties window. There'll be another video to go over how you do everything in the properties window. I just wanted to show you the name and description piece that are in that piece of the dashboard. Okay, as always, if you want to go back to the main page, you're going to click on the CurateFx logo, and this item here, the name of the project, is always how you get back to this page, no matter where you are within the project. You'll always just click on the dark project name at the top of the page. All right, so let's look at what we've got. When you come into a new project like this, there'll be 4 rows of groupings of modules: scenario settings, scenario context, scenario components, and scenario conclusion. Scenario settings will always be open. If we close it, it looks like that. You've got your 4 areas. See, we've got the 8 suggested modules here, 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. That's 5, 6, 7, 8 suggested modules. And what that does is it gives you a bit of a methodology to approach your project with. Now, you might say there's 3 suggested modules, but 4 boxes here. Stakeholders is a required module, so you will always have to do that module. That sets up the language for all of the other modules, so you do need to fill that one in. So your 3 suggested modules are drivers, overall value, and problem statements in scenario setting. If you roll that one up, you look at your suggested modules in scenario context. It's business canvas and ecosystem designer. In scenario components, it's frameworks mapping and DSRA mapping. And in scenario conclusion, it's lessons learned. All of this comes from the B2B2X template, which is part of TM Forum's IOE best practices. Okay, so looking at this in a little bit more detail, you see when I mouse over one of these, I get an edit pencil here. If you don't want this to be called scenario setting, you can name it anything you want. So these titles are completely flexible and can be completely changed. You can also change what's in here by adding a module or deleting a module. So you see the add module button here. I'll go over that in a minute. You see the 3 dots here. One of the options is delete. So you can totally customize how you're grouping things on this dashboard page.